To hold our interactive Q&A with our artists, so get your questions ready. We'll see you soon.
Toast Nabasi here. I wanted to show you guys my Fishman Fluence signature pickups. A few key points about how these came about. I've been an artist supporting various brands of passive pickups for quite a few years, and at the end of the day, they all sound good. I mean, the process of building the pickup is essentially the same. You have a magnet and you have some coils. So at that point, you're just kind of voicing a pickup specifically to get what you want. When I encountered the Fluences, though, I was hit with a sound that I haven't heard from a passive pickup or an active pickup. And I think it's this golden middle ground between the two. And beyond that sound, there are dynamic differences that I found really, really pleasing as far as consistency of notes, the way the notes are summed frequency-wise, clarity in the low end. And lastly, my ability to get single coil and split coil sounds that don't sound thin or anemic compared to the full output of the humbucker. Most passive pickups have been designed with high gain tones in mind, which are great if you're covering your tone in saturated distortion, but I found that reversing that approach and designing the pickups with clean tones and split coil sounds in mind gave me a pickup that's gonna yield very diverse and musical results.
Hey everyone out there, this is Ken Susi from Fishman. Everything you hear is true, live stream and also podcast. We have a great guest today, but before we get going, if there are any Fishman products, just like the ones you just saw, Tosin Abasi from Animals as Leaders demoing, you could head over to the Fishman site, www.fishman.com. Any type of information, wiring diagrams, or just product information, anything that you're curious about, you could just head over there and check it out. Look through the page. We have a lot of interactive stuff over there. Also, please do us the favor. We are broadcasting across the Fit for a King, Fishman, my own personal social media channels. And also, most importantly, please head over to the Fishman YouTube channel. Click the like and subscribe button. And just support us in any which way you can. So right now, as you can see, I'm over here. I'm hitting buttons, and you're seeing questions. So with our guest today, feel free. This is a live interactive Q&A. I'm definitely going to be seeing these questions. Our guest will be seeing the questions. But if you want to hop in and ask something, please feel free to. So again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. And today we have a very special guest. Our guest today, when we find the button, is Mr. Daniel Gailey from Fit for a King. How you doing, brother?
Yo, good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm pretty much living the dream. How are you feeling?
It looks like it over there in your dark quarters. You look great. I'm good, man. Just same thing. Just a lot of hanging. That's about it.
Well, you guys have a lot of stuff going on, obviously. Thank you, Eric. You'd love to try some Fishman pickups. I think you should try some Fishman pickups. Yeah, definitely. I know that you guys just put out a record. I think Fit for a King is one of the hottest new bands, or newer bands of the past few years that have gotten the most hype. There's a reason for that. You guys are obviously incredible. We just did a tour together in Europe with Azalea Dying, and you guys killed it absolutely every night. Let's talk about the history of the band a little bit before we start talking about products. But also before that, let's talk about your new record. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it just came out on Solid State Records. The rollout for this has obviously been weird, not having been able to tour or anything. So it's definitely a different process than anything we've experienced before, but it ended up going really well. And we're just trying to make positives out of kind of bad situations, like with doing things like the live virtual set, that being the way that kids could hear, new songs for the first time before the record even came out. So I think doing things like that actually helped boost our numbers more than we thought that they would. So yeah, overall, it's just been a very interesting, but cool and overall successful release.
Yeah, let's actually talk about that. But before we do, we have a question right here from Caitlin. How soon before Fit for a King is touring in the States again?
That's a great question. I hope that it's not long, but obviously, it just kind of depends on the state of our nation and what ends up happening. In the coming months or, up in the next year. I mean, fingers crossed it's sooner than later.
Well, that's good. That's good news, because you guys are obviously one of those bands that are just not a great band on record. You're obviously great live. I've seen it happen. But with my own eyes, I mean, let's say you guys are you guys are about 80% there, I'd say, live. You're not Motley Crue, but
yeah, no Van Halen, but we're trying.
That's just for you guys that know out there. It's an ongoing joke backstage. I would always be like, "You guys are good, but you're not Van Halen." And in my brain, nothing was acceptable enough. Like, I want Fit for a King to be exactly like Van Halen, but that's not going to happen.
We should. We tried a little harder on this new record, but we're still not quite there.
Yeah, you guys are way too nice to be, to be to be Van Halen, drinking, doing drugs, or whatever it is that they did in their career. But I wanted to ask you about. I mean, your record did just come out, and it did very well on the charts. Why don't you talk about a little bit the accolades that you got from it?
So yeah, we before the record came out, we noticed that things were popping up within like Billboard 200 and stuff. So we were like, whoa, this is going to be insane. So I forget exactly what all the record ended up doing. But yeah, we had several like Billboard placements, and then as well as, like the iTunes stuff, placing pretty high on those. So, and it was our biggest first week yet. So we're just super stoked. And honestly, I don't know if shocked is the right word, but anytime that you can outdo your last record, it's always a good thing.
Certainly, that's the dream, is to always be
That's the
outdoing
goal.
your next
Yeah.
record. But yeah, I mean, one of the main reasons why we're here is that when you and I met on tour, you saw Unearth play a few times, and you were like, "Hey, man, like, what are you using? What's your pickups like?" And obviously, I did a little bit of prodding too to because obviously I
Yeah.
love your band, and I want to make sure you guys wanted to play, one liked Fluence. But yeah, let's talk about products. I mean, what was it? I mean, obviously you were playing another brand's pickup, but then like when I
Mhm.
approached you, let's talk about what it was like when I approached you and like what we discussed, and then was the hype real?
Sure. So yeah, I can remember, being in a green room somewhere in Europe and you kind of cornering me and being like, "Hey, pickups you're playing suck. You should try these," and just in the most Ken Susi way ever. And I was like, "All right, man. Like, if you want to send me some, then I'm down to try them." And sure enough, I think it was like literally the day or the day after I got home, I had pickups at my door. I had them installed and was just like sold right away. And I think that first set was just the moderns. Um, and those work super well for us just because we tune super low, and so we need like the clarity that those can provide across all the strings, whether high or low, and we get that. And that's been really hard to find in other pickups. The lower you tune, like the more muddy things can sound. So that was just like a super refreshing thing to throw in a guitar and like hear that, low F like we hadn't heard before. So it comes across great live in the studio. It's pretty much all I've been using for tracking. And then I have another set coming, some classics that I'm super excited to try as well. And I just got to demo some with some of the new ESP line, and those blew me away as well. The moderns to me have like a little bit more of like an active kind of sound, but the classics I feel like bring a little bit more of a passive sound to the table. And I think I'll have mine kind of modded or wired so that the classic like hot rod setting is the default. But yeah, it just kind of brings like an overall just. We talk about trying to sound more Van Halen. That's the way to do it right there.
That's literally the only way you're getting there is with our classics.
Yeah.
But no, no, I absolutely love that. One of my favorite things about what happened there with you discovering the classics is that as an artist relations guy, sometimes I find myself like, oh, I'll give I'll give certain pickups to a guy that's playing certain pickup. But I
Yeah.
got a call from obviously your rep over at ESP, and he was like, "Yo, Daniel's way into the classics. I sent him a guitar, and he absolutely loves them, and that's great because they're both great, and I want you to be playing both. So I'm happy you
Yeah.
found that for sure."
Yeah, man.
Let's take another question real quick. I was looking forward to the Parkway Drive tour. The album release live stream was awesome. Any plans for another live stream anytime soon?
We've talked about it. That kind of ties into the last question about, when are we going to get to tour again and stuff. Really, I mean, as long as we're not able to tour, we still want to be able to provide some kind of content for you guys. So it's still kind of up in the air right now, but I would say that, if this drags on, you could definitely expect more of that kind of thing from us, just because the first one ended up going so well and was such a cool experience, and gives us an excuse to kind of, get out of our homes and hang out as a band, which we're not getting to do a whole lot right now, and give something for you guys to, watch and hopefully enjoy as well. So yeah, it's kind of up in the air. We'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Describe what happened during your first live stream. I mean, what everybody has kind of like a theme, but what was it that you guys did that you felt was, the next step forward for you?
Sure. Yeah. So we actually kind of piggybacked off of some music videos that we were shooting in Atlanta, Georgia. So we all, flew to Texas and then drove our van down to Atlanta to do these shoots. And it had been planned all along that we were going to do kind of like this, the Path CD release show, just virtually. And we had never done anything like that before. So we had no idea what to expect or how it was going to go. But we kind of, got set up. That was the first thing we shot just so that we could be fresh and, move around and have fun and everything, not be worn out from music videos. And we did, just kind of, um, we shot each song like a few times and just kind of tried to get the best takes or whatever. And all the audio was separate from the video. So it was this whole, conglomerative thing to where we had to put it all together with, our video team. And we had like these giant LED walls that were behind us. So I think visually, like it looked awesome. And I think it sounded pretty good too. So yeah, it was just overall, we were thrilled with how it turned out. And we premiered that on Kirby's Twitch. And that may or may not be going up on YouTube sometime soon. So if you missed it, get a chance to see that. But yeah, it was super sick and couldn't be more happy with how it turned out.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Unfortunately I did not get to see it, but I think that's great that you guys are doing it. There's a lot of time, just for the fans out there, there's a lot of time and effort that gets put into all of these live productions, and when you can do it right, especially a live stream, good on you guys. Just to remind everybody over here, obviously you may be streaming from Facebook, whether it be the Fit for a King page or my personal page or the Fishman page, but please do us a favor, head over to the Fishman YouTube and click the like and subscribe button. Ask some questions over there. We're definitely giving giving people some priority. So let's hop over to another question. You should do a couple playthrough videos. The leads on the new album are super sick.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I definitely will be doing some things like that, especially got a couple new guitars coming in from ESP, and so I'll be looking out for that. I will definitely be doing some playthrough content stuff.
Okay, so Sheldon wants to know. I mean, I love these questions. I just got here, but what's your studio ringtone? I love the tech talk. Let's talk tech talk.
Yeah. I'm a big pod farm guy. Whenever I'm just at home and I need something quick just to kind of throw together. But I also have a Kemper, which is what I use live as well. So a lot of times I'll start with pod farm tone and then maybe reamp with the Kemper after I kind of get a vibe for whatever I'm working on. So yeah, it's that's pod farm is my go-to amp sim, but lately I've been just kind of rocking with the Kemper a lot.
Nice, as a lot of people are, whether it's Kemper or Axe FX or Two Notes, they're all great tools, obviously, to get your sound across. Christopher, David, which Fishman for 7-string brings out the low A sharp? What do you think?
So in my 7, I have the moderns in there, and tuning's actually kind of interesting. The bottom 6 strings are tuned in that drop A sharp, and then the very lowest string on the guitar is tuned to an F. So you kind of have both options there with that drop A sharp, and then you get the low F when you want to throw that in too. But those moderns, like I said earlier, just across all strings, just bring so much clarity to the table that the separation of those, the sound that each string makes is really defined with those pickups. So I would definitely recommend the moderns.
Yeah, I would agree. Being an extended range player myself, I find that the Fluence Moderns do the best job at the extended range stuff. But if you're a passive guy, I mean, we make a lot of great pickups, like the Javier Reyes signature model's great. The classics, the classic open cores are great. But it's all in what you want to play and what you want your sound to be. Here we go. I like these questions. All right, signature model coming from ESP. What's up with that? Is that happening?
Well, not that I'm aware of. Fingers crossed. Hopefully one day I got to start chirping in Tony's ear.
Yeah, Sean and Ash are both these guys. I'm flashing these up. They're both saying the same thing. I think they're playing off each other. So ESP, if you're listening, I mean, you got a hot guitar player over here that's waiting for a signature. He needs that mailbox money.
There we go.
Jacob's asking what guitar pedals do you use, or do you use any since you're using the Kemper?
I don't use any pedals. Something interesting that I've been doing though when it comes to effects with the Kemper is I will chain in through the MIDI, and so I can actually do patch changes just through the DAW that's playing our tracks in our session. So anytime that there is any kind of effect change, like it's going from a distortion to a clean or to a lead patch, I actually have been able to get rid of pedals altogether, which has been a dream because I found it being really hard to, we're running all over the stage and sometimes you have to be your microphone to do, your singing parts or something like that. And it would just became, I felt like I was glued to my side of the stage whenever I was like constantly having to do patch changes. And if anyone knows Tuck, he's just everywhere all the time. So even trying to keep up with him and like really, I guess, dodge him and just be out of his way can be challenging, especially if I'm kind of glued in a spot. So I actually got rid of pedals by chaining into the DAW, and so all of the patch changes work through that, which is kind of a cool new way that I've been doing things.
Nice. Yeah, Tuck's a bit of a he's like my singer, like you just if you had a pedal board in front of you, I guarantee it would be stepped on 100 times.
Hey, it's all for the show though. He knows how to put on a hell of a show, that's for sure.
He really does. But yeah, no, I definitely got to say, my life has become very easier too. You and I mean, we really haven't talked about this, but I mean, I use the 2-note stuff. I use the Eventide stuff. But when you could like take a click track from what your drummer's playing to, and that just like, filters over like different numbers, right, going into your unit, and it starts, it's like it's roulette, right, for throughout your set. Every single time a part shows up, it pops up. It really is the dream. Yeah. And I could literally say that I've spent hundreds of dollars on guitar techs stepping on pedals throughout my career, and it's a waste of time when you could just do it manually, right?
I mean, dude, now technology is so insane. I mean, you run everything from one computer, lights, patch changes, click to your drummer's ear, things to the house, everything. It's nuts. But yeah, it definitely makes our lives a little bit easier.
Do you guys do your lighting show in the States or elsewhere through your rig currently?
Yeah, so on like a couple of the most recent headliners we've done, one we did it on the same computer. One we had to kind of daisy chain it to another computer because it used like an entirely different software. But yeah, typically we'll run it just the same way, do patch changes just through MIDI, and that just triggers like whatever lights are supposed to be happening. And we have a couple of our crew guys who will set that up every day, and they're the ones that know what they're doing. We're just like, cool, like as long as it works, that's great.
Yeah, my fear is that I would set up something that elaborate and like just one Christmas light would go on and that'd be it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I would definitely not be able to pull that off, I don't think.
Yeah. So I don't know, you can see the questions on the screen, correct?
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to mispronounce this, but writing or playing with any more, what is that? Phineas?
Phineas. Yeah.
Phineas, sorry.
Yeah. That's my other band, and yes, we are actually writing, hoping to have a new record out early next year, and that is the band that I played in for a long time before I joined Fit for a King, and that's kind of like my more that's way closer, at least I think, to Van Halen than Fit for a King might ever be, just because that's kind of like the show off project,
Good.
Yeah, so I think it's up your alley for sure, Ken. But yeah, we are writing right now and almost done with the music, and then we'll hopefully start tracking vocals sometime pretty soon.
Yeah, it's like my dream is that you guys kind of dress and act more so than sound. But I would like if you guys like. I think I'm just pushing for you guys to just be a Van Halen cover band. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, hey, if COVID's still going on, we've already rocking like bandanas over the face. Just slide it down over the neck, take that shirt off, get some funky looking pants, grow the hair out a bit.
Listen, I have four flights to Boston for you guys to play my next birthday party. So just let me know. Just let me know if it happens.
Yeah, will do.
All right, Ash over here. Ash Cook is supercharged on Fluence right now. Okay, last one. What was the first thing that you heard or realized that was being played through Fishman that made you want to make the switch?
Well, I think on that tour, just knowing that, a lot of the dudes that were on that tour were already playing. As you said, like Unearth was playing them, like all the dudes in As I Lay Dying had them. And then I knew a little bit, like Kill Switch has, like their signature pickup, and I was just like, okay, like I'm already kind of sold on just that. Those are, some big names. So if it works for them, it's gonna be great, I'm sure. And tried it, and sure enough. I totally get the hype.
Yeah, so that's kind of my little input to that too as well, is that I mean those guys are all tone freaks and they use other pickups, and if you look through their career, you're definitely gonna see what they've used. But in this time, at this time, I mean they have made the jump, right? Fishman offers a technology that no other company can offer. We have a 48 layer precision coil that kind of that drives the pickup, without getting too technical. With that, you can get multiple voicings. It's noiseless. You have just so much more phase alignment in the pickup. So I honestly could say, and I think you could probably back me on this, you just have to try it. I mean, it's one thing to like go on YouTube and I I'm pointing this out, but I just hate it. It's like you got a guy who puts pickups, us versus another brand, and he just hits every string or hits some chords, and you can't really tell. You don't know where the pickup's set in the guitar. Is it at different heights? You don't even know if they're recording in their bathroom, right? So grab a set of pickups and put them into your guitar and mix and match. Wouldn't you suggest the same?
Yeah, I think I would definitely agree. There's no way that you're going to really know until they're in your guitar and you're trying them out for yourself. But instead of just going to some like random thing on YouTube, I would definitely recommend going to the Fishman website and just looking at any of the product videos. I think that they stand pretty true to some of the tones that you can produce with the pickups.
Yeah. And to your point, Ash, also, we have great artists, just to expand on what Daniel was saying, it's like Tosin Abasi, Stephen Carpenter, Javier Reyes, Killswitch Engage, Devin Townsend, Greg Koch, As I Lay Dying, Unearth, Fit for a King. All these guys are pros. They are the future, and they're playing our stuff right now, and that says a lot for people to make that move. And that's another good point too, because you don't think about changing your pickup when you're a professional. You get so many pickups for free. I have literally a pyramid of like other brands' pickups in my house, in my closet. But when I found Fluence, it like literally changed everything. I pretty much threw away all my pickups. I mean, wouldn't you agree that's the last thing you think about changing in your guitar?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was gonna say it's kind of like I remember people used to get a lot of flack for like your typical like metalcore setup, like 6505, Tube Screamer, like bands that you see do that because it works, you know what I mean? And that's why if you see a lot of these people kind of making the same moves, like that probably means something, and it's probably because everybody is finding the same thing, that's the move, that's the best thing that you're gonna get. So I mean, a lot of these dudes are like, on Kempers now, and you see all these dudes playing Fishman, like you've probably put some thought into that means something,
Yeah, definitely. And I could say through through my career, there's always a company asking you to try a piece of gear or this or that or the other thing, and you're right about the amps. Like even 5150s, those old school Eddie Van Halen amps, not to bring up Van Halen again, but but everything just seems to go in that direction. But no, I could just with confidence I could turn on that amp, keep it on standby, put it on a certain setting, and walk off the stage knowing that like it's a Marshall or Mesa cab on top of that thing, and I know exactly what it's going to sound like, and I don't even have to touch it because you know exactly what it sounds like, right?
Yep. Exactly.
So enough about, well, I mean, guys, if you have any questions, again, please hop over to our page or hop over to the Fit for a King Facebook and just write your questions in here. Daniel's taking any question that you guys want to ask, whether what's his favorite color, what's his favorite meal, all the important stuff. What's your favorite European meal when you're stuck on tour? What would that be?
Man,
like awful after show pizza that's like cardboard. Is that your favorite?
No, almost. I was gonna say like doner or like some kind of kebab. That's always like a pretty easy move in Europe. They're everywhere, so.
Yeah, that was funny. Actually, one night I didn't go out and party with you guys, and I caught half of your band like in front of a doner kebab place just smashing falafel into their face at like 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's either that or like the cup of noodle places. It's basically just like Mongolian grill like noodles. Like those are our go-tos in Europe for sure.
What
awesome. About you? What's your European meal move?
Oh, I'm going hard on this one. I think you already know this, but I'll go McDo's all day. McDonald's.
Yeah. Of
So
course.
it's the U.S. Embassy. When you're in Europe, most things close late at night, except for a falafel or doner kebab place. So
Hmm.
Jordan from As Lay Dying and I would always go get a. We call it a. We get a value meal with a side deal, and that's basically we'd order number one or whatever number it is that you want, and then would eat a cheeseburger at the actual counter, so none of your friends thought you were gross by overeating. So you eat the initial cheeseburger before you pay at the counter, and then you eat with your friends, and you're like, oh, he got a value meal. That's it. But they don't know
That's
we snuck
yeah.
in
They're
that
like
extra burger.
that's respectable. Yeah,
The only
keep
problem,
keep that other one under wraps.
that's what I'm saying. And if you're at like as we call it, my second choice is BK Lounge, right? Burger King.
Uh huh.
You get like you get a hamburger, you get a Whopper, you get some fries, and then you get a side of onion rings. But the side deal there is that you tuck the onion rings inside the burger, so nobody knows what's going on.
Sneaky. I like it.
Yeah, when you're over like 35 years old, you're gonna start side dealing hard.
I'm getting there, man. We'll see. You'll be the first to know.
Oh, dude, call me.
If,
Just send me a text and be like, I'm side dealing hard right now.
okay.
All right, Mark Phillips. Now that we're having some fun, is asking what's your favorite song from the third record.
From the third record, man, I don't know if he's referring to. I'm assuming Fit for a King's third record. Uh,
I say, give me your favorite song off of your both bands' third record. That's
okay.
yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Hmm. So I believe that would be. It's probably talking about Slave to Nothing. So if you are talking about Slave to Nothing, it's probably Greater Sense of Self. We got to play that live on one tour for a little bit, and that one was just super fun because it's probably like the most noodly riff wise song that Fit for a King has played live. And then let's see for Phineas. Uh, Give me one sec here.
I like how you're just like me. I don't know any of my records or any of the songs on the record.
Yeah.
I give you props for that because that's a veteran move. So,
Oh yeah. It's like why would I know? Okay, so that's till the end.
yeah.
Man, that's tough. I can tell you my favorite solo on that record is from a song called Coup de Grace, and that sounds it's just like a hot and tangy lick. It sounds like if you were to like jump in a pool full of barbecue sauce and just go for it. So yeah, check that song out if you haven't heard it. It's a pretty wild ride.
That's awesome. Well, we got another right here. Brazil loves you guys. So thank you, Brazil, for liking Fit for a King.
Appreciate it, Brazil.
I would think the whole world loves Fit for a King now, but I guess maybe just Brazil more. So that's cool.
I think so. Yeah,
Have you
everyone wants you to come to Brazil.
have you ever been to Brazil?
I have not. I hope to one day.
It is a wild ride. I'm just going to tell you that much. It's
I
it's
I
it's
believe
awesome. Yeah. So maybe on Earth and Fit for a King can go out to Brazil and probably I'll get
Yeah.
arrested.
it. Sounds great.
Let's talk about your playing a little bit because you're not just. I mean, there's a lot of bands that you may or may not have heard, and you hear about, but you don't understand them. But like, that's the one thing about Fit for a King is that I heard about you guys years ago, and I saw you at the Worcester Palladium, and you weren't in the band at that time, but one of the guys was playing my signature model from ESP. It was the quilted maple
Yeah.
top, and I walked over to him, I'm like, oh, hey, dude, you're playing my guitar. Thank you. And he's like, no, it's my guitar. And I was like, oh, sorry. I am Ken Susi, and this is my guitar. And he was immediately super cool. But anyway, when
Yeah.
you joined the band, I mean, your playing is great. You're a super
Thank you.
shredder. Not a lot of people may know Fit for a King to be a super shredder-y kind of band. But let's talk about your musical influences, your playing influences. Like what, other than Eddie Van Halen and Van Halen in general,
Yeah.
what inspires your playing?
So yeah, I mean that's the top one. As much as we keep joking about Van Halen, that was like kind of hearing that for the first time at like 9 years old is like what made me want to pick up a guitar. But yeah, I mean any other like kind of classic dudes like Paul Gilbert, like Michael Romeo from like Symphony X was like a big one for a while. Um, and yeah, I mean, I've always been into like the just shredding in general, and didn't really start getting heavily into metal, or didn't really know like that there was a whole world of like metal and metalcore and stuff until probably like early high school, and just listening to a lot of classic rock like Boston stuff like that. But then after finding out about there was this whole other genre that I hadn't even tapped into. My goal was just like I want to become the best at guitar that I possibly can. So that opened the floodgates. Like when I started finding out about bands like Necrophagus and like the Faceless and like like Super. I was just like I want to learn any like the craziest shit that I can really. And then I think I just kind of landed on just really liking like that. It's kind of like mixing like your classic rock with metal, like that's metalcore, like you get that like Kill Switch, like As I Lay Dying, like that's just always been something that I've really loved. So that's where I try to focus my playing now.
Yeah, like I'm glad you even mentioned Killswitch Engage. It's like those guys were super into Def Leppard, and you could totally tell, you know.
Oh
So
yeah,
I think yeah, there is that's the one thing that people don't understand about our genre, even though there's like singing and screaming and a lot of aggressive music. It's like we all listen to the great stuff. We listen to AC/DC, we listen to Iron Maiden, we listen to we listen to hip hop, 90s hip hop or whatever it was, any we're very eclectic listeners, and that's why our music is it's always open,
yeah.
right?
Well, and I think that's like kind of where like I really started to kind of like get along with you guys like on the bus. Like you'd always be playing like this like rock, and I feel like for the most part, since As I Lay Dying wasn't on our bus, I would a lot of times be the only other guy like in the whole camp that would like know anything about any of those songs, just because like that's all I listened to up until like
Yeah.
I was in high school. So I was like, oh yeah, like you know
And the last thing you want to do is like admit to Unearth while they're let's just say lubricated with adult beverages that you don't know the song that's playing on the stereo, because you're gonna have guys in your face screaming in 3 minutes.
oh yeah.
Not
Yeah.
angrily, but just like screaming probably the lyrics in your face.
Yeah. Yeah, those were always good times for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, definitely. We definitely had a good bus situation, more so for us. But okay,
Yeah.
I know you use your six string. And Phineas, has there been any thoughts of doing a song in seven on the new record?
Yeah. I mean, now that I have one, and it's kind of like I figure why not? It probably won't be tuned as low as Fit for a King, but I think it'd be fun to stick a couple seven string songs on some Phineas stuff. For me, it's not really about like, am I using a six string or a seven string? It's kind of just like if I have an idea, um, that I feel like could go in either direction, I'm super down for it. So we've got a couple like demos laid out to where, notes are going lower than the range that a six string can really handle. So yeah, we'll probably make an appearance a couple times.
That's awesome. We should definitely talk. Well, actually, we got a question in Spanish. You speak Spanish?
I don't.
All right.
Sorry,
Well,
I recognize hello and then uh, Spanish. That's
yeah.
about it.
Oh, maybe they're asking for subtitles in Spanish, I think.
Oh yeah, I see yeah, that looks like subtitles.
I took like a year or two of Spanish in high school, and I think that that's what that says. So,
There you go.
so yeah, actually, we should talk about your guitars a little bit. I'm obviously a signature artist with ESP. I love ESP guitars. We have the same rep. We have the same family. Actually, we're in LA at the same time shooting the same video shoot,
Yeah.
which we missed each other. And I
I
hate,
know.
and I'm
I've
so
mere
mad.
minutes.
Yeah, I'm so mad at Tony because I was like, "Hey, Tony, is anybody shooting today that like is my friend?" And he's like, "No, no, just a bunch
Yeah.
of local guys." And then you
Yeah.
show up.
Technically, I am local, so I mean that kind of makes sense. But yeah,
So yeah, with that being said, and now that we've established our A&R guy is horrible over there for not connecting us, let's talk about your actual guitar. What are you playing? What kind of models do you like that ESP makes? Let's talk about why you like ESP.
sure. So recently, I have been like hooked on their SN model, which is kind of like their Strat model, but it's more of just like it's less like think less classic and more of just kind of like the more modern little influences thrown in. So it's 24 frets versus like on your typical strats, you're only gonna have 22. You know, humbuckers so if like I play a lot of guitars with like Floyd Roses. I think that's the biggest thing I can say about like any guitar that I'll play is gonna have a Floyd on it. I'm just like a sucker for the dive bombs and whammy tricks and stuff like that. But so the SN, I play the M model a lot. I have a Horizon. Any of the like kind of like double cut, body style. That's just always kind of been my thing. I've never really been too huge on really many other shapes. And for a long time with Floyd's, that's pretty much the only kind of guitar that you could find that had a Floyd. So I think I just kind of got set in stone with that, similar body shape and just rolled with it. Ken, you're kind of the same way, right? Like at least with that body style, I know your signatures are like an M shape, right?
Yeah, as I was off the screen, I was like, "Oh, this is such a great time to brag." But so my just so you guys know, I have a signature ESP model. It is the KSM 6 and 7. This comes in 6-string and 7-string. But like you just said, there is Fluence has multiple voicings. This one's active. This is passive. Right here, you pull this up, you get a negative 6 dB gain reduction when you're in voice 1. But yeah, this is my guitar, and you were talking about the the super strat kind of thing. This is an M body, because I found out that like I just like the sound of the M bodies much better, but I wanted it to be like the if you notice, this is an SN pickguard.
Yeah.
Yeah, which they weren't doing at that time,
cool.
and I was like, give me both and give them to me now.
Yeah. That'd be sick. They just made like a new SN that's kind of like that like ingrained wood, but I think it's the first time that they've ever done like scalloped frets. So that's actually the guitar that I'm going to be putting the classics in, and I'm trying to talk Tony into doing a 7 of that because I was like, dude, you make more SNs. Like I'm hooked on. I'll play the shit out of those. And so he was like, dude, I love the SNs. He was like, I gotta just like, start talking to more people. See what I can get off the ground.
And if he doesn't do that, you and I could just make our own guitar company and take them over.
Yeah, take over the world. There you go.
That's the threat. No, the M body with the SN kind of like style here and there is legit. Great. I didn't even know we played the same stuff. I thought you were playing the Horizon model, right?
Yeah. So I have.
Go get it. Yeah.
So this one's the 7-string. It's got the moderns in it, but like I was saying, like it's got the Floyd. Same thing Ken was talking about with like your different voicings for the pickups. But yeah, so this is a Horizon, but same kind of similar shape as like the M, and just like having that the double horns here and everything. That's always kind of been my jam. So.
Dude, are you ready to get depressed? Can I just show you something that's so sick?
As if I'm not already depressed enough.
Yeah. So I had ESP make me this guitar right here. It is it's a Floyd Rose. It's my guitar, same M shape, kind of a Stratty pickguard, but also with the Floyd Rose that you'd like in Dayglow yellow. So not to be that guy, but you should probably hit.
I love it. That's sick. Did Sponge paint that?
I don't know.
Like at the shop?
I don't know. All I know is that they didn't want to do it. They didn't want to paint it. I actually purchased the paint myself and said, "Here, paint it, please." Yeah. But it came out so good.
I would love to do that. If not, like signature or custom. Like there are a lot of the models just stock that I love, but always having multiple color options is sick. So that's sick that you got a bright yellow guitar. I love that.
One of the things that I actually want to say, and I think you could agree with me with ESP, and obviously the combination between having Fluence inside of your ESPs. I actually this yellow guitar is an actual ESP, like an actual Japanese made one.
Yeah.
But I equally like the LTDs just as much. I play them on stage. I don't think there's there is a quality difference, but I don't think it's like noticeable.
It's pretty slight. Like from what I played, even I don't have an ESP, but I have like this one's an E2. I have a couple E2s, and then I have LTDs. And I mean, dude, honestly, there is a difference in quality, but when you're playing them, like it's not like you pick up an LTD and you're just like, this thing's a piece of shit, you know? Like it's not that way at all. I enjoy playing them both equally, I would say.
Yeah, I would totally agree. So we have some more questions rolling in. Let's say this guy. Did the quarantine help you create more songs for the album? Did it help you, or was it a nuisance?
So that is helping currently with Phineas stuff. With Fit for a King, our album was done before quarantine even started. We were on tour. We had wrapped up in like I want to say February in the studio, and then we were doing our headliner in March, and yeah, that got cut short. Obviously, we were like 5 days into a world tour, no dice. So, but yeah, like with stuff that I'm working on now, with Phineas, like um, it's just really, if anything, just giving me more time to focus on writing. I'm sure you can agree, Ken. Sometimes it's hard whenever you're trying to write a record and you've got a busy touring schedule and you're, trying to hang with your boys and like so if anything, it's just made it easier that I have an opportunity to kind of like be in my room by myself a lot and,
Yeah, I would
write
say
jams.
the toughest part about becoming a popular musician is that you get more friends, and then it takes away from your writing.
Yeah,
When
exactly.
when people weren't like calling your phone all the time, you would write the best songs ever, and now everyone wants to party with you, and your music gets crappier over time.
Yeah,
But
suffers. Yeah,
but then you get older, right? You meet a girl, and then she keeps you home a little bit longer than you should, and
yeah.
then now you're writing again, right?
There you go. Yeah, that's how it worked for me. Yeah.
That's the progression. So yeah, bands are good when they come out, and in the middle of their career, they're like okay, and then they get better as they meet women.
How it works for everyone. Yeah.
So Cody's writing, I play on an LTD 607B. Excellent. Get ESP
Nice.
guitars. Those are
Sick.
awesome. Dan is asking, Dan Mack, Fit for King, shout out to the Lone Star State. How has being from Texas culture / music influenced your band's music or style?
That I can't really tell you. I am from Georgia originally. I live in California. Um, spend quite a bit of time in Texas. Jared and Kirby and Bob live there. Tuck lives in New York, so we're all kind of spread out. But yeah, that's kind of like home base. And I'm sure for them that maybe in the beginning when they were all kind of from there, that probably meant a whole lot, and especially whenever they were still in the local scene, just like playing all the great venues like around Texas. But now it's kind of just like we love playing Texas shows because that's like home base, but don't get to spend a ton of time there really outside of just rehearsing now. But yeah, I mean, shout out to Texas. I like Texas. It's cool. I don't live there.
I absolutely love Texas as well. I love Dallas. I really like San
Yeah.
Antonio. The one thing I learned from being from Massachusetts is, when you're an up and coming musician, you start to play VFW halls at first, and then you move
Hmm.
yourself into like, whoa, I played a show at Boston, and then you start regularly playing shows in your major city, and the clubs are
Yeah.
awesome. It wasn't until I got to Texas or certain parts of Texas where I was like, okay, like I'm playing a big venue, but it's set up like a VFW hall still.
Yeah.
Like there's like a
Dude,
bad
that's true.
PA with like yeah, like a horrible PA. Everything's like making ground noise. Like there's a
Hmm.
bar like on top of the stage. Like you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, no, totally. I will say, I mean, shout out to Texas for having one of like the best like metalcore scenes. Like I can remember there for a while just seeing all these crazy like festivals pop up and they would only be in Texas and it was just like,
Yeah.
like why can't my state like get this like awesome list of bands to just come and play one show or whatever. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a great scene out there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Austin has some great. You have emos there. You have
Hmm.
what's the club attached to Stubbs, the barbecue place right next door? I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember that.
But I'm sure
I
you
know,
guys have played there.
yeah.
You've
Well,
got
I know.
trees in
Yep, in
Dallas,
Dallas. It's great.
and what's you have
And then
multiple House of Blues, right?
Yep. And then there's like some smaller ones like Rail Club, and there used to be the Door. That was always a great time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's talk about how'd you meet up with the Fit for a King guys? How'd you get in the band? Because obviously you're not the original guitar player. What happened there? Like, what band were you in? What scene were you in? How did you connect with the guys? How did it all happen?
Yeah. So again, that was just through playing with Phineas. We had toured with it a couple times, and Bobby, our other guitar player, he doesn't really tour anymore. He has a family and stuff, and um, on that tour, he found out that the band was going to do a European run with Miss May I, and decided that he couldn't do it. He couldn't make it happen. So I think it was like day one or day two of that tour. He had asked me if I wanted to come and fill in, and I was like, yeah, sure, like that'd be awesome. And then did that first tour with them, and we all just like hit it off, and it ended up working out to where um, it just became a full time thing, and now I'm doing that. Phineas touring has slowed down a bit, so it's just really that's just the way that it's worked out. Not opposed to touring with both bands, but yeah, it's just kind of the way that it went. Like as Fit for a King schedule started, you know, becoming more and more busy. The other one was just kind of becoming less and less busy as far as playing shows. And it's kind of both due to like family things. Bob was like wanting to spend more time with his family, and same thing with Sean from Phineas. And that's totally understandable. Like when you have a family, you got to do what you got to do. So, but yeah, so that's been about 2 years ago now, and I've been just rocking solid with it ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Guys, for all of you that are out there watching, please, we're hosting a live interactive Q&A. Just hop in, ask us some questions, ask Daniel some questions, whether it's Fluence questions, whether it's Fit for a King questions, or just asking Daniel what he's into on a regular basis. It's totally cool. But please do us the favor, head over to our YouTube page, click the like and subscribe button, ask some questions. We're seeing that there are some questions that are popping in from YouTube now. We're absolutely happy about that. And by the way, guys, Fishman has a website, www.fishman.com. If you have any questions about the Fluence pickups or any of our loud boxes or our acoustic products, anything that you're looking for, wiring diagrams, or just even talking to support, go to www.com. Fishman, www.fishman.com. I am awful at this. So
www.com.
www.com. Go there. Dan Mack is totally right. Thanks, Daniel and Ken. San Antonio used to have the White Rabbit, and that was the club I was
White
thinking
Rabbit.
of. White Rabbit was awesome. So Kevin Meyer.
Yeah, great venue.
Yeah, Kevin Meyer is writing, what is it like touring with Azalea dying twice in a year? What was your take on that?
That was cool. The first time was with Phineas, and that's whenever I got to know all those guys. And I mean, that was great. That was only like their second tour back in the U.S. So I mean, that was a huge deal for us. We knew that it was going to be a big deal, and it was kind of cool because it was smaller clubs. I think they were kind of testing the waters, and but we ended up just like really loving those guys. And so yeah, whenever it came time to do the other tour with them with Fit for a King in Europe, I already kind of knew them going into it. So, I mean, it was just like a continuation of that relationship. And man, I mean, that second tour especially stands out just because of all the other bands that were on it as well. And all of us collectively just like having such a good time together. It was like Fit for a King on Earth, Chelsea Grin, As the Lay Dying. And I mean, not only like were the shows super sick, but just like all the behind the scenes stuff, all the bands were getting along and goofing off, and it was just sick hangs all around.
Pretty much, yeah. Up until we had bass player beef, our bass players went at it at one point. But you guys have to understand, like when you're touring with, like, that tour was amazing. There was no problems. But sometimes when you're just like changing your pants in a room with 20 guys and you're stepping on each other, you tend to get testy. So I remember you and I were peacemakers. So we're going to heaven someday. So
yeah, we tried to
Oh man,
we just want good times, It's like I remember there were a lot of vibe checks happening, and that day not the best of vibes, I guess, but it worked itself out.
Yeah, well, I'm joining Fit for a King because I side with you guys on that one. All right, so last on Earth stop at AZ, I was stage right, repping the Fit for a King jacket in the front row. Love you guys. That's awesome. So there's evidence right there that we share the same fan base. Thank you for coming to our show, and thank you for supporting Fit for a King. What's your favorite Fit for a King song you've not written?
Man,
That's hard to
tough.
answer, right? Like it's not
I think I can answer it though.
okay.
I have like two sides of whenever I think about Fit for a King songs, and one is like the melodic side of things, and then one is like the heavy side of things. So I think the songs that I always end up like enjoying the most live, on the melodic side of things, is probably the song "Price of Agony." Um, and then on like the heavier side of things, I would probably have to say Backbreaker. So it's hard to just say one, just because those are two just like totally different kind of styles, like all blending together. So
That's a good answer. I wouldn't have been able to answer that. I've been like, the songs haven't been made yet, man. I don't know. I don't know. Half the time I think all the songs that I write are awesome until I hear them back and I'm like, these are awful.
yeah, happens to the best of us.
Exactly. So we
know the one.
Yeah. So we have another question. When is Fit for a King? Oh, sorry. Hey, Fit for a King, have you ever wanted to visit Latin America?
Of course, we want to go everywhere. We had planned to go everywhere before the world started ending. But no, yeah, we would love to go to Latin America. Really, anywhere that's gonna allow us to come and play, and like we can see new places and play our songs. Like we're stoked on it. So
Awesome. Well, we have another question. What is your favorite thing about playing music in general? It could be the after show food. It could be just what is it? Is it the stage, being on stage? What are you into?
I mean, really, it's just the whole thing. From it's hard to really like narrow that down and pinpoint like one thing, but I mean, just being a musician and being in a band in general, it's like the whole picture of it. Playing an instrument, like being able to be on stage, being able to tour with with your best friends, like being able to meet new people who then become like best friends, like all over the world. Like those are just to name a few. I mean, I think definitely the people that you come in contact with and just the community though is probably my favorite part about just being in a band in general. So
I would agree. The friendships, the connections you make, the memories that you spend. I think that's awesome. I am going to add, Jordan Robinson is asking a question, and I'm going to add to this, Jordan, because I want to sway the conversation in a new direction. I grew up skating with Jared way back, and the word on the street is you're pretty good at it. Can we get a Facebook live game of skate one day? But I'm going to add, I think you're better at yo-yoing than you are at skateboarding. So how are you better at yo-yoing, or are you better at skateboarding?
ah man, it's probably about the same level, because I mean to you you're like, oh, you're so great at like this yo-yo, but like I know like three tricks or something like that that just like look cool. There's like this whole other world, kind of like with skateboarding. It's like, yeah, like I can do like some tricks, but I'm not like pro status at all.
He's talking
So yeah,
himself.
but
He's talking himself down. I'm interrupting. He's awesome at yo-yoing. The kid blew my mind backstage with like 20 tricks.
I wish that I had one here, and I would gladly show you. But yeah, I know you and Buzz really got a kick out of the yo-yo thing. I'll have to dig up some videos and see if I can put them on my story for everybody watching. But no, yeah, with skateboarding, like I grew up skating a lot. I thought, for a long time that's what I wanted to do. Like on top of playing music, and then, it's like whenever you're trying to do these two things and one takes you down a career path, like you kind of go with it. So I don't skate as much anymore, but I'll still mess around, like if there's a board laying around.
Yeah, I love that. You should actually skate with Buzz sometime. He's pretty good at
Yeah,
skating. So
I would love that.
yeah, Buzz and I, like when we're on tour, our lives are so mundane that any trick is amazing, and we'll keep poking you with a stick to make you do it. It's like, keep doing rock, rock the cradle, walk the dog. Yeah. So Daniel's asking, what's the inspiration behind Vendetta?
just to be heavy as balls, I guess. Like musically, I can't really speak lyrically for a lot of things just because I'm not really in charge of that side of things. Each song like kind of has its own personal meaning to me, but like as far as just Vendetta as a song, that was kind of the point in the studio where it's like, all right, we need to write a banger, write an ass beater, let's do it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's always good when you actually too you set out to go do something like that and you don't fall flat. Obviously,
yeah,
you guys write great records and great songs, and yeah, amazing, dude. Well, we're at an hour, guys. We promised you an hour of entertainment, and we just fulfilled it. So I would like to thank Daniel Gailey from Fit for a King showing up here, talking about his yo-yo master skills and his ESP guitars, and most importantly, his Fishman Fluence pickups. Obviously, that takes priority over everything else. He's a Fishman guy now.
absolutely.
So all you other
Dude,
pickup
thank you
companies,
for
stay
having
away.
me.
Anytime, brother. And we'll see you out on the road, and we'll listen to the new record. And guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back here next week on possibly Wednesday, Thursday. You just keep an eye out. All right, Daniel.
Awesome.
Thank you very
guys.
much for everything.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
All right.